Hello and welcome back. As you can see, I've put a number of other things away off the layout. I've generally been tidying it up. I'm trying to make some space so I can have a go with something with the old catenary, the overheads that I've been wanting to try for a long time. But I thought after seeing that video last week with the old RHX set with the R55 single-ended diesel, it would be really nice to see it run, and especially see if it runs up that incline with a full set of those silver coaches on. So I think we'll probably just have a look at that first. On with the power and the headlamp, and away she goes. Just listen to the motor and the sound of those coaches wobbling away on the track there. It's a heavy old load for this motor. All of those old plastic wheels on those coaches, on open axle boxes, it's a terrific weight. So that motor really is doing the business. Lovely shot there as she comes towards camera. Since shooting last week's video, it's been drawn to my attention that there are some replacement decals for the front of these models on eBay at present, so I have ordered some and I'll keep you up to date about how those look once I've got them fitted. I'll leave a link in the description box for those decals. I think they look rather good from what I've seen. Now, away she goes up the old incline again. Just listen to that motor. It really is just such a splendid sound, isn't it? Slight wobble on those coaches, and they are quite some age, these, aren't they? There's no pinpoint axles here at all. Lovely across the bridge there. I can't tell you how much fun I had playing with those. It was just a great time. So we're going to put these away for another day, and I think at some point I'm going to have to put down a small layout maybe of standard track or series 3, just so these operate in a bit more with the environment they were designed for. But for now, I think we'll just pop the old lid back on the box and we'll see if we can have a look at the catenary. So I've got a couple of Bobo electrics sitting in the station now. I'm going to get this one out on the left. See, points number 12 is set correctly, but we just need to open number 11 there. So if we just open those, we'll just run down to the old switches here. So we want number 11. There we go. So if we look back up there, we may be able to see that change. There we go. Now if I give that a little power, we'll be able to get that out of the siding. So here we go. Nice and smoothly out. So there we've got her all stopped now, because what I want to do is take her this way around the layout, and I'm going to need to close points number 11 there into the old sidings, and I also want to get her onto the outside line through points number 8. So we'll just have to throw those switches. So what I'm after is point number 11. So we'll just have a look down here. So that's that one. So if I begin to move that lever and then we have a look up here, we should be able to see that one throw in the distance. There we go, and then just 3 switches along is number 8. So we'll just see if we can see those ones go. There we go. And now if we give the old Bobo electric a little power, we'll take her back round the layout and we'll pick her up on the other side, and we'll have a look at why we can't place her on the rails the opposite way around. There she goes, nice and smooth through the old points and off into the distance. So there we go, I've stopped her right next to a power mast. So this is how the power's fed to the catenary. So the red cable here feeds the power to the mast, and it's transferred up the mast on this metal strip and on this metal arm, and that just rests on the old catenary there, and of course the current's then collected by the pantograph. The return is collected by the black wire there. If I just push the locomotive back a little so we can see that, the return is collected from this, in this instance, the outside rail. So that's that lead there. So the insulated side of the locomotive must always be placed next to the power mast. So that means we can only put it on the track that way around. So the insulated side of the model is just the side which normally collects the current on a regular model, which collects from the track. So on this model here we can see this side would be the insulated side because we've got the collection wipers here, so it collects the current here, it runs through the motor and is returned to the rail on this side. So if I turn that around and you have a look in there, you can just see there's a plastic bush separating the wheel from the axle. We'll just pop that one down and we'll have a look at the wheel. So this is a very similar wheel to in the old electric. Nice knurled wheels. We can see there that plastic bush separates this wheel from the axle. So there is a plastic bush. They're tiny little things, and that would separate the wheel directly from the axle, so no current passes along it or from the wheel to the axle. On the other side, the wheels make direct contact with the axle, so that is the return side. So we'll just pop that down. We'll have a look at the underneath of the old electric. So just put those there and we'll bring the model round. There we go, so we're definitely collecting current from the overhead. So we'll just fold down the pantograph and we'll lift that up. So we can see the selection switch on the top. I'm collecting current from overhead. Centrally positioned would be no current collection whatsoever, and positioned on the left there would be collecting current from the track, just like a regular model. So we'll just turn that over. So this would be the insulated side. So these wheels have the plastic bush on them because this would normally collect the current. So this is the side which goes closest to the power mast, and this will be the return side. So if we have a look at that, we can see the eye on the motor bogie there for insulated side. And if we switch that around, we've got the R there for the return side. So the model can only go that way around on my layout, so the pantograph is always at that end. So it poses an interesting problem. If you want them to run the other way around, you could just run them off the track, which is perfectly possible. But I have found a bit of literature from the later Hornby Railways range of catenary, which indicates that you could put two power masts on at the same time, so we could separate the locomotives and have them running in either direction. If we have a look at that, we've got the locomotive facing each other like that. So we've got that wiring there. So we're using two separate return rails, so returning on one side and the other side. So I thought I'd give that a go. So I'll just have a look at the pieces involved here. I've got a box full of odds and ends here. So we've got a power mast and a regular mast there, and a regular track clip and a power clip. So if we look at the old power clip first, so it's an old hefty old thing. So you put the old pin connectors in there and there. So the one that goes in here makes direct contact with the mast. So when we look at the old power mast, so we've got a metal strip running down it there, making contact with this metal arm, which makes contact with the old catenary wire there. So the metal strip that runs down to the base runs right onto the bottom of it, so when it pushes into that clip, it makes contact with the bottom, and you put the old pin connector in there, just like we see here. So we supply the current through there up to the catenary, and then this is the insulated rail, so no currents pass to this rail, and the return current goes to that rail there. So we'll just pop that down. So the wheels we were looking at earlier, so there we have the old insulated side. So the model that has the side insulated must go that way round, so when it sits on a track, the current supplied to the model through the catenary and returned, and it passes through the motor to this side. So what those instructions I just saw says is if we put the power mast on the other side, so then we can still collect the power from here and return to the other side, so we can have two independent models running. And that's perfectly fine apparently, provided you have two separate controllers with two different windings. That's very important, otherwise I think it won't work. So I don't fully understand how that works. Electricity is quite complicated, but I've read about it and it says it will work. So we'll just have a swift look at this one. So that's a regular mast base. So there's no kind of power collection associated with that at all, just a plastic clip goes on top, on the bottom of the old regular mast there. And obviously we'd need one of those little white plastic mast links there to hold the catenary wire in there, just like this here. They hold them in position so that's completely insulated and the skate just passes smoothly underneath there. So we'll just pop that down. We'll have a look at this diagram here which shows the whole theory of the collection and the return. So collection supplied through there, onto the skate, runs down the pantograph through the old motor and is returned on the other rail there. So I'll get on and install another power mast on the layout and we'll see if that works. There we can see I've got the spare controller set up, providing power to this temporary power mast I've put in, and I've set this mast up the other way around as we were just saying, so that the return rail is on the inside this time. So that's enabled me to place the locomotive on the track facing the opposite direction. If you just look at the original power masts, how I've got them set up on the layout, there we go. So the return rail is the outside rail. So we'll just give this a little power and we'll see how it works. Here we go. And that works very well. So we'll just bring that back. There we go. Now we'll just bring out the other Bobo electric and see what happens. So we just need to open up points number 11. There we go, and then we need to switch number 12 so we can get access to the other Bobo electric there. There we go. And then we should be able to move her gently out of the sidings. There we go. And then we're going to switch number 11. There we have that. And number 8 is already open, so we can take her back onto the outside line. And I'm going to close those once she goes through. So we'll take her back. There we go. And we'll bring her to a gentle stop near the other power mast there. So you can see I've got both Bobo electrics on the line now, and the pantographs are facing opposite directions, as it were. So this controller will control this model, and this controller here is going to control that model. So we'll give this one a little power, and this one should stay completely still, so we'll take this down the line that way. There we go, and then we'll bring this one along to meet it, I think. So we'll give that a little power. So there we go. So if I bring them back again, I'll take that one back around and over to the station there, or just beyond the station, towards the gasometers in fact. So there we go. And I'll bring the other one along with it. And I'll bring it to a stop here. And the other one will keep going, right down to the gasometers. There we go. So I'll bring that one back around. And and this one stays completely still. Nice gentle stop there, and I could take this one up to meet that one. So a little bit jerky there, perhaps that track needs a bit of a clean, and then we'll take that one back down the line that way. There we go. So that does open up some interesting possibilities. So we'll just take that one back over towards the gasometer again. There we go, nice gentle stop. And then we'll bring it back round, and we'll bring them both back towards to meet each other again. So we'll get that one underway. So that works really well, doesn't it? So I'm just going to back this one up again. There we go, and I'm just going to take this one back around just a little further away. Because what they don't tell you in the instructions is that you can't use your two rail trains, and obviously it's going to take up the current from the two return rails, which is a sort of unintended consequence of the whole thing. So if I just pop that on the rail there, and if I move that one towards it, let's see what happens. See, it begins to creep, doesn't it? And if I turn the power the other way, so that's not really a great result, is it? So I'll bring this one back along and we'll see what happens. And then we get all of them moving together. So I don't think this is really a great idea for long-term use with the layout set up the way it is, but I can see potential for it in the future. So we'll just give that a little bit more power. So we can see there that's completely unworkable in that way, isn't it? Still, a great bit of an experiment. So there's that diagram we looked at earlier, and it's contained in this leaflet of instructions that came with the old later catenary system that Hornby Railways produced in the late 80s and into the 90s. Let's have a swift look at the box. It really is a terrific looking picture on the box, isn't it? So these power masts here, these were quite interesting. I don't think they were quite as pretty as the earlier ones. They're quite bendy as well. If we look at this wire here, that's quite very, very stiff, and it causes it to pull down, and it's quite possibly an unattractive look to it. If you look at the cover of the leaflet that came with it, though, if you look carefully, the catenary masts here seem to have a metal arm on them, whereas the production models seem to be plastic. I think this would have been much better with a metal arm, but still something must have changed in their plans. Again, they do tend to go quite yellow. We'll just pop that down, and that will have a swift look at the old box here. So we've got Hornby Railways on the end there, and some interesting diagrams on the back here. And this one really demonstrates that we can have a locomotive running from the overhead and one from the track, which is basically what I do on the layout most of the time. So that experiment today with the wiring diagram I found in there was quite interesting to have a go at. Now, interestingly, that setup wasn't detailed in any of Trang Hornby's earlier literature. We'll just pop that down. So this great sort of book of instructions here, and it's got a catalogue number R282, and it says first edition. From what I read, there only was the one edition of this, and it was produced between 67 and 70. Great picture of the L1 there, isn't it? Black and white, but colour logo. So it's quite a small book. It's got a thick card cover, quite shiny, and it covers a number of aspects of the railway. It's really just the leaflets, or amalgamation of the leaflets that were sent out with the models. But interestingly, this has this strip, and it's sort of gummed paper. So it's been added to the book after production. And this is regarding the old Flying Scotsman R850. and talking about lubrication and cleaning, removing the body for slot cleaning on the commutator there. So really quite a nice thing to have, but it doesn't cover the setup we've just had a look at today. It does cover lots of other things, though, really quite useful things, running from batteries. So it does go back a bit, doesn't it? There's that great diagram of how we get the feed and the return with the overhead power masts there. That's the diagram. That really represents what I do with my layout there. So I've got a feed to the track from one controller and a feed to the overhead from another controller. That enables me to control two separate models, one overhead electric and one running from the rails. I think it really does complicate matters, what I was just trying to do, but still great fun having a go. We've learned a thing or two. There really are some great things in this book. I'll just have a look further through it. We've got information about the magnesion, and we've had a look at that a couple of weeks ago, sliding the rail out to get an uncoupling ramp in, or an operating ramp of some sort. Some track layouts or diagrams there, and how the geometry works. It's quite interesting. Again, a few basic layouts. All the parts of the catenary here, look, all listed. And there's some wonderful diagrams on this next page. I love these. These all have black and white illustrations. They really are terrific. And here, this indicates an adapter from phase 2 catenary to the earlier pressed steel phase 1 catenary. I've got some of these. We should have a look at those one day. This, I love this. That's showing catenary running through the tunnel. It took me ages to work out what that was. Maybe I just don't understand things when I look at them, but that's what it is. Just trying to look through there. It's great, isn't it? I'd love to have a setup like that. All these wonderful diagrams of oiling points, cleaning the motor. There we go, oiling points, cleaning the motor, wrong way around. Still a great thing to have. And then not really much on the back cover there. So I think that's probably about it for this week. If we have a look back again next week, we'll have something else to have a look at. Here, interestingly, I've just spotted this. I did know this was here. It says, if catenary wire is to be installed on a layout operating from Hornby Railways 01 control system, should not be electrically active. Continue to power all locomotives from the rails. Yeah, interesting stuff, 01. I had it as a child. I remember being disappointed quite a bit with that. So thanks again for watching. Goodbye now.